First of all, the animal experimentation is actually pretty lousy. Whatever measure you take, they're only about 60 to 80% accurate. I love animals, but being a toxicologist, being a pharmacologist, I was trained to use them. Most of the innovation comes from academia. There's a golden rule: your system should be as simple as possible. And this changed my life.
Hello and welcome to the 3DCC platform conversations, where we bring the key voices worldwide who are trying to build the future in the industry of healthcare. And I'm Rohini, and today it's a privilege to be joined by Dr. Thomas Hartung, Professor of Johns Hopkins University, also who works with appointments across the known educational institutes all over the world. And Dr. Hartung is the Director of Centers for the Alternatives of Animal Testing, CAAT, in both the United States and Europe, and also serves as the field chief editor of the Frontiers in AI, a globally recognized leader in toxicology, regulatory science, and non-animal methodologies. His work sits at the intersection of biology, engineering, and data-driven innovations. He has authored more than 740 scientific publications with more than 53,000 citations and the H-index of 128, explaining his rich experience in the academia. So, Dr. Hartung, it's an honor for me to have you welcome on this podcast series.
Thanks for having me.
Before we begin with the whole scientific questionnaire, I would want to know how your journey has been so far in this healthcare domain.
I'm an academic.
Yeah.
And I've been very broad from start. I did complete biochemistry and medicine as an MD PhD, but I also did study 3.5 years of mathematics, informatics.
Oh.
So I have the problems for medicine and the tools for mathematics and for informatics and biochemistry to solve them.
It's a combination of everything.
Yeah. And I took 7 years time out working for the European Commission.
Okay.
And with only minor academic appointments, but now I'm fully back. 17 years in the US.
And you have been enjoying the whole journey up till this point.
I'm one of the people who always sees the bottle half full.
Oh.
Not half empty. I'm very optimistic, and
okay.
I very much enjoy what I'm doing.
That's wonderful to know. And you have led one of the global conversations around replacing the animal studies with the smarter and human relevant alternatives. So what, in your view, is the single most transformative shift in the NAMs that we have nowadays, and that has brought the drug development over the past 1 decade, I would say?
Yeah, it was actually really a journey. I love animals, but being a toxicologist, being a pharmacologist, I was trained to use them.
Yes.
I liked already from the beginning to move into where new possibilities without animals were emerging, and developed the pyrogen test, so something to find contaminants in drugs. But out of this experience, I suddenly became responsible for the validation body of the European Commission.
Okay.
So trying to help find out, is something new really as good or better than an animal test, and can we recommend it?
Exactly.
And this changed my life because I first thought, okay, it is something ethical. It is better. Yeah, we must change. But I also started looking into what are we comparing to?
Yes.
And then you find out that, first of all, the animal experimentation is actually pretty lousy. Yeah? Whatever measure you take, they're only about 60 to 80% accurate.
Okay.
And I think this is one of the most important transformative things happening in the last decade, that we understand we are not working with a perfect system. We have not a gold standard.
Yeah.
And this is not just an ethical problem that animals have to suffer. It is also an economical problem. We're not fast enough. We cannot test them all. Yeah. So this is a change in mindset.
Yes.
And at the same time, technologies are emerging who actually are as good or better. There's 2 transformative technologies right now. One is AI, which is really helping us to use all of what we know already to close the gaps, to predict things, and incredibly well.
Yes.
And the second thing is that we finally get human relevant data.
Exactly.
And we get these data from cell cultures on mostly stem cell derived systems, complex in vitro systems, as we call them, or microphysiological systems.
And when we talk about all these different types of alternatives, the development also needs to have some regulatory system which can regulate the working or even the development of all these technologies or the innovations. So what do you think, how can we accelerate the convergence of these regulatory frameworks, especially in the emerging market like in India, if we talk about? What is your perspective over that?
I think the training of regulators is really a very important part. In the end, these people have to take enormous responsibility.
Okay.
I mean, they have to decide whether something goes to the market, then people could be harmed, or they can kill a company, an industry, by setting standards which are not achievable, withdrawing things from the market which have enormous turnover. So in this balance, these people need to decide, and often they have been trained decades ago. They don't know the new stuff. They don't know whether they can trust it. So educating them, as well as obviously the next generation, is one of the important things we have to do.
Aspect. And when we talk about academia, not only like academia, but academia and the industry collaborations in the perspective of NAMs or the 3D cell culture or all these new alternatives of animal testing, what are your perspectives on that point?
I mean, most of the innovation comes from academia originally. This is where things can be tried out, but it's also Wild West. You just, if you're selling your stuff well, you get the money to do it. But typically, we just give you a proof of principle, and then we move on. You do something else. But it's then the industry which is needed to standardize things, to bring them into decision-taking, to make something appealing also to regulators, for example, when we are talking about the regulatory side. But product development is just the same, they are betting often tons of money on a certain substance to develop it, and they need to take good decisions. And this cannot be done with the academic standards.
Yes, exactly. And you have advocated human-on-chip technology or the platforms, and also how AI is supporting to build this thing. Which emerging technologies do you believe that will be most significant in influencing the biologics part of it, like the drug development and everything? How this will be utilized in the domain of drug development?
I mean, there's a golden rule. Your system should be as simple as possible.
Okay.
But, because complexity on its own is no value. But complexity is making things complicated. It is making them more difficult to interpret. You have more variables to control. You have dramatically reduced throughput. If I take these modern microphysiological systems or human relevant complex in vitro systems, they have the most complex ones, multi-organs on a chip.
Yes.
There's hardly any place which can run more than a handful of samples in parallel. And there's so many components which can go wrong. I would use this only for a problem which really requires this complexity. I'm advocating, in vitro systems which are approximating in vivo, especially if you look for unknown things. But if you're interested whether your chemical is activating a certain receptor, you can use a simple cell line. You don't need one of these systems. So the adequate system is important.
Like the way we build it, it should be feasible enough for the solutions that we need to accommodate.
Exactly, they need to correspond.
Yes.
So if I want to screen 10,000 or millions of chemicals sometimes in early phases of drug development, I need something as simple as possible. There I cannot use something which requires sophisticated bioengineering. But when I have reduced them to, let's say, 100 lead compounds, then I can start comparing them in these complex in vitro systems.
And when we talk about building innovations, which are patient-derived solutions, I would say, we need to build something that is trust, which is the key important thing over here. So building trust in the NAM data is very critical, I feel. So what are your perspectives on this?
I mean, I have been heading a validation body, so this is all about building the trust.
Yes.
Because it is very difficult. An individual researcher or even an entire company, they cannot every time evaluate everything again and validate it. The regulator cannot say, interesting data, but I first have to study whether this system can give me what you do. This is why validation bodies take the job. And they run ring trials. They come up with a report which says, we believe on this basis, this is the evidence that this method can be used.
And what do you think, what are some of the best practices in terms of validation, transparency, and all this global collaborations and regulatory subject matter Indian scientists can adopt, or they should adopt and do, right?
I mean, the good thing is that we have international standards, and if something is considered valid, validated, then it is trustworthy. If you want to validate, there is 3 aspects to it. You want to know that something is reproducible. Sounds simple, but you cannot imagine how few scientific publications report on the reproducibility of their system. They just check, was there a significant difference?
Yes.
But if you systematically establish how reproducible are your results, you know much better whether this was just a chance significance or whether this is something within the normal, whether you can expect to measure this difference. The second thing is the relevance. And the relevance is typically measured by, do I find the right substances? So those who have to be positive in a test and those who have to be negative in a test, which can be both toxic, non-toxic, can be active as a pharmacological agent or non-active. So you need the point of reference for this.
Yes.
And sorry, if I just may complete. The third aspect is the scientific relevance. And this means, is it based on the same mechanism? So I need to show ultimately that what is happening in my test system is also what is happening in the disease, in the human, in the action of this class of drugs. So I need not only to get the right result, but I need to get it for the right reason.
Yes. Like the right reason is also important. We shouldn't be focusing only on getting the result.
And this becomes more and more important.
Yes.
Because in the beginning, we were looking into replacing an animal test, which in themselves have never been validated. They are a black box. You don't know what's happening. Increasingly, we have no animal test to compare to, especially for biological drugs, which do not work in animals. But very often, we have our test systems are now one organ. Liver toxicity is extremely important for pharma, but there's not an animal test for liver toxicity. It is only one out of many endpoints. But more and more important is a certain mechanism triggered, which we know is relevant for producing liver toxicity, let's say, in humans.
So when we talk about these NAMs for global health equity, like, what are your perspectives that on behalf of India, when we talk about India is positioning itself as both the manufacturing hub and also the innovation partner for global healthcare. So how can these NAMs be integrated, not just for the ethical reasons, but also for the improvement of access towards the patient or towards the industry that needs it, and also from the perspective of affordability and the speed of how we can deliver these new biologics? What is your perspective how India can develop in these fields?
I mean, first, these new approach methods are typically much cheaper than an animal experiment. And very often they can also be scaled, they can be automated. You can run many, many substances with these while using tiny amounts of the test substance. So this is a big value proposition. So let's say, if we stay with toxicology, most people would like to know whether the things we add to food, whether the things in our consumer products are producing cancer.
Yes.
The cancer bioassay, which is the only accepted test for doing so, does cost almost $1 million.
Okay.
It takes you 5 years to get the results, and you need 10 kilograms of the substance to feed 400 rats for their life. I mean, it's 2 years. Yeah, all of this is usually impossible. Yeah, ask a chemist to reduce 10 kilograms of something which is not yet in production. Yeah, it's essentially impossible.
Yes.
Tell a company to wait 5 years for the result before they use a new chemical. Yeah? This production cycle is not possible. So these are all very important value propositions.
Yeah.
And companies typically don't need continuously these type of assays. They have a problem now. They're developing one group of chemicals. They have something to register. And their contract research comes in.
Yes.
And this is a tremendous opportunity. India is very strong in contract research, now offering testing services. And that's where these new methods are offering a big spectrum of interesting stuff.
And what are your thoughts about the collaboration of Indian young researchers or the young innovators, startups, or even the academia, people who are working in academia in the domain of innovations? How can they collaborate globally if they want to scale up their innovation?
I mean, I've been working with quite a few students and academicians in India. I think that we are, with all of these modern tools, democratizing a lot of this. You mentioned in the beginning that my classes on Coursera have been taken by, now it's more than 23,000 students. That's an enormous offer, yeah? Free of charge, you can start learning about these things.
Yes.
We have a very international community. I would say that Asians make up half of the people in our School of Public Health. Sure, a lot from China, but there is also quite a few from India. And this science is global. Yeah, we don't care where people come from.
Yes.
And the big advantage for India, I've always seen in the fluency in English, a pretty good educational system, to get people in. So I have very positive experiences here.
Yes. And now that we talk about students in this domain, last but not the least, what kind of advice do you have for these people coming into this domain who have this motivation of doing something innovative, doing something for the societal impact? What kind of advice you have for them?
Yeah, I mean, I think we need to be future oriented.
Okay.
We see exponential growth at the moment in all of these technologies. AI is developing so fast that you cannot be a scientist in the future without embracing these technologies. So don't waste your time to look into, we have been always doing it like this, because it will not be like this in a few years. And you can enter and outperform all of these well-established scientists by really riding the wave. AI, for example, since the introduction of deep learning in 2010, is doubling its capacity every 3 months. So this year's AI is 8 times better than last year's.
Exactly.
And this means if you're looking into this, you have the technology which will be transforming. We also see not that fast, but we see that the work on these human-relevant microphysiological systems is doubling every 4 years.
Yes.
And there is more and more offers now to get into this field. We created with my team, for example, the annual Microphysiological Systems World Summits, an international society, which offers educational measures, but also possibilities to meet and find partners, find jobs in these societies.
About the thing you mentioned, that find partners and like the collaborations that needs to be done. How do you think one should do all this? Like what advice do you have in that perspective? That how a student or maybe young researcher or someone should take usage of what kind of platforms for doing this?
mean, there's a lot of technical knowledge required, and many of these systems are so complex that a single researcher cannot really do them anymore.
Yes.
Where you need specialists in data analysis, you need specialists in the engineering side of these systems.
Yes.
And so it is collaborative research.
Okay.
And there's also not many places which can teach it all. So we really need to use also the modern opportunities for remote learning in order to get all of the information which is necessary. But especially staying open, understanding what is trending, what is coming, and embrace this early, I think is a very important one.
Definitely. Like connecting with people, connecting with the like-minded people or someone who has have had experience in this would be a key for learning more.
Yeah, I think that modern science is not done in isolation by somebody going to the lab, doing some experiments and writing an article. It is all an interactive thing. It's a social activity. And so it is extremely important to become part of these communities, to exchange and learn, and also to be motivated. Yeah, you need to meet the people.
Yes, that is important, definitely. And before we wrap up the whole conversation, I have 3 quick questions for you, kind of like a rapid fire questions, where I need your instinctive answers for these questions. So tell me, one animal model we should retire today.
The cancer bioassay.
Okay. One NAM technology India should lead globally.
I would embrace AI.
Okay.
India is very strong in informatics. You have fantastic education in this, and it is the cheapest and most problem-solving technology.
Okay. One policy change that would fast-track global adoption of NAMs.
I would say a critical evaluation of what we are doing now.
Okay. That's great. And any one piece of advice for how one should lead the path of innovation, like how we should start at the very beginning.
Education. I think it really needs to be future-oriented.
Okay.
We are tending too much to tell the history of our science, while we
Yes.
should talk about the future of our science.
Definitely. And one word for what has been your best moment in the 3DCC platform?
Meeting some friends.
Oh, that's great. Wonderful. And with this, we wrap up this conversation. It was wonderful talking to you, sir. We had a
was my
lovely
pleasure.
conversation.
Thanks for having me.
I hope you enjoyed the conversation too.
3 thumbs up.